Evening, folks. Hello. It is I, and it's also him. Him here. Yeah, Mr.
Hello.
Garry Dibley. Yes.
Garry Dibley, yes.
Excuse me. Bit of a burp.
Constipating on seeing whether we're actually doing anything at the moment, going out live.
Yes, lucky we didn't press live a minute ago because we were saying all sorts of stuff.
You muppet, Mr. Dunn.
Oh dear. So yes, tonight's show very shortly. Yes. We have static VTTV on screen.
No, it's looking good my end.
That should have gone now, Leanna. Just do a little bit of a refresh. But you can't hear me, can you, if you're seeing the screen? Hello, Yoda, Chiefy. Yes. Who was there? Dave, Marco. Hi, Marco and GD. Hello. Hello, Pete. Fuzzy. Leanna. Hello, Leanna. Yes. John T. Dave. Some of these I can't actually see the name because I can't move the thing. Bit weird that. Scooter, Becky, Kim, Neil, Rob, Aaron, Cybernoid's in there. Hello, Matt. Jeff's in there. Trevor G5 might be. Yes, plenty. We've got about 30 seconds till we go live. So in about 15 seconds, I'm going to hit the bug. Yeah. And then we will be live proper. Yes, it says me in there, which is me because I'm not logged on. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to see you in about 15 seconds or so. Yeah. Bugs go on.
Excellent.
Hello. Yes, that was a very quick bug and a very quick sting. And now it's 9 o'clock. Just after for you because we're kind of 30 seconds or so behind. So you see us 30 seconds after we say it, or you hear it after we say it, type thing, yes. So on this evening's show, I have this man, Mr. Garry Dibley. Yes, he's live. He's promised not to break anything tonight.
Trying not to break anything was the promise.
Yes, he's going to try and not break anything tonight. We have got we've got some VT, we've got MFT, we've got some interesting stuff, and some linkages later that Matt is going to throw into chat for us. And all of that is after what we like to call the titles. Vaper Scene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids. Yes, indeed. Good evening. It is past 9 o'clock now on Tuesday the 3rd of February. February already. My goodness. Yes, it's 2015. I almost said 14, but I'm over that now. Yeah. He said, in the style of Claudio Winkleman. So, yes, how are you, Garry?
Yeah, good. Of sorts. Yes, interesting couple of weeks, shall we say. All good. I've got new toys, so that's all good. I've got the little Sigelli mini jobby. What's it do for 30-watt job, which is coming along nicely. It's on charge at the moment. But yes, life in general is. I won't say it, but yeah, no, it's good. It's hard but good, and we're getting there. And I'm here by the power of some wonderful drugs. But yes, back to you.
Drugs is good. Drugs is good, especially the nicotine. Yes, the nicotine is good. Think of the children. No, the nicotine's good. Yes, it's been a weird couple of weeks for moi too. Really, very busy work-wise. And tomorrow, I'm up to the northeast, and then after the northeast, I'm kind of going left through Cumbria, and then I'm going to go up to Scotland. So I'm hoping that the forecasts that are kind of floating around for -12 and snow turn out to be +30 and lovely hot weather. I can dream, can't I? I can dream. Managed to miss all the snow last week, really, because I went down to the southeast and to East Sussex. Yes, it was rather a good weekend twixt some work that I had to do. But this week, yes, up to my usual no good. Driving the roads up to Scotland and then back down again. It's all good. Yes. Don't think I'm working at the weekend though. At least I hope not. I don't think I am. Anyway, I digress. We digress. Maybe you can show us the little device next week, Gary. Do a little bit of video. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we'll give it a bash. I know someone said it's not shiny, but it's got its protective rubber on.
Ah.
Yeah, it comes with a protective rubber. But yeah, when you peel it back, it's silvery. But I quite like the protective rubber because it protects it and it's rubbery. No, it's actually much better for grip. I tried it off, and it's a slidey bugger, so I can see why they stuck that on afterwards. Yeah, I've got I'm 0.5ing it now on the coils as well,
Woohoo!
which is most interesting. But I had to drop the nick level because my usual I've dropped from a 36 to 24 now, which is average all day vape. 24 at a 0.5 ohm coil, and it nearly killed me.
Isn't
it? It's just lungs out, I tell you. But yeah, so I dropped it. I'm on about. I've got 6 milligram, and I'm putting a couple of drops of the 24 in to mix up the flavour a bit. But it's surprising, and that's what shocks me, how a 6 milligram juice at 0.5 can actually give me the same satisfaction as a 24 at 1.6 ohms at roughly the same wattage. Don't get it. I've been trying to work it out. I don't get it. I know you get more vapor and this, that, and the other, but surely, how does that research work out? I'm going to post a question to chat tonight, if I may, because we have waffle time. The question to chat is, how the hell does that work? I'm vaping 6 milligram. Doofy wattage type things, and why do I get the same satisfaction as that as I do at 24 milligram at 1.6 ohm with the same wattage? If you can answer that, help me, because I'm baffled.
That was a bit of a delay there, me pressing a button and me coming on screen. Very strange. Yeah. It's more than likely because you're getting so much more vapor, so you're absorbing more of that vapor in the old lungies. Because I found I've dropped somewhat using the lower resistance. But that dovetails quite nicely with my first little bit of VT, because I have the Vaper Shark and I've got 2 Subtanks. This has got the stock 0.5 coil in it, and I also had the RBA. And a strange little thing happened to my RBA. Have a little look at this bit of VT when I find it. Yes, here we go. And then I'll tell you more afterwards. Right, well, as I just said in the studio, I had a few issues last week with some equipment. First of all, the brand spanking new atomizer head I put in my Delta tank worked for about 30 seconds and then failed on me. So I was left with that full of juice in my bag that I couldn't use. I then was vaping on my Subtank in RBA mode, the one I showed you a couple of weeks ago, and the same juice that I was using, which was a spearmint, diluted at about 15% flavour, and it started tasting a little bit weird. So I washed the coil, and it still tasted weird, so I thought I'm not going to vape on this anymore this week. So I put that one away, and I was using the other one just in the normal mode with the stock atomizer. When I got home, I took this all apart and cleaned it. So let me just show you. If I just take the bottom section off, and what I'll do is I will zoom in so you can see this on the reveal, because it is rather interesting. Yeah, let me zoom in for you, and there we go, we are right in there in the zoom. So like I said, I took this apart and I took the wick and the coil off, took off this section, and I was greeted with this. Now it's a little bit out of focus now. Let me just see if I can get that in focus. There we go. And if I get a pointy thing, you will see this section here is a little bit wobbly. And because underneath here is some sort of silicone, and that has melted. It's completely melted. And this is from, obviously, from the juice. So what I'm going to do is take this apart. This bottom pin unscrews and releases this part here. So we'll just take that bottom pin out. There we go. And you can see there's no degradation to this part here. But if I then take this off, you will see the damage to that piece. It is pretty much mush. Pretty much mush. Which is somewhat disturbing, I have to say. And it looks like this goes all the way down to here. This is all one piece. So it appears to be moulded in one piece. So the entire deck is useless, really. This piece starts here, goes down there, and I would assume that the way it's being produced is this has gone into a unit which has filled it and moulded it into this one section that goes through the middle of the RBA deck. But as you can see, it is completely sticky and destroyed. Now if I show you one that has not been used, this is a brand new RBA unit that has not been used yet, still with the original coil, and you will see here there's this white piece of actually hard plastic. It's not soft, it's actually got some bite to it. Has been turned into that. There we go, you'll see the difference if I hold them kind of at an angle. It's been completely melted obviously by the juice that I was using. Now I have emailed Kanga and I've asked them for their comments on this. Why it's not made out of ceramic, I do not know. It seems a little bit foolhardy to have a stainless steel and Pyrex tank system that you can't put juices in that would attack polycarbonate, and the spearmint flavour is one I would never put in a polycarbonate tank. Now, to be fair, I never realised that was there before I put my juice in. I didn't think to check that. So if you are going to use a juice that would normally attack a polycarbonate tank, I would not use the RBA on the Subtank, just to be safe, because you can see what it has done to this. It is completely mullered. That's the new one, never been used. You can see the difference. That is the one that's had the spearmint juice in, and it's completely melted. So we'll see what Kanga come up with. You never know, they may have come back to me before the show tonight. They may not. Let's wait and see. But like I said, this was done in not very much time at all. It may have been like that for some time, and I may have been vaping on it for some time, because I was using it for over a week with the spearmint juice. So God knows. But like I said, it needs replacing with something that is going to not degenerate with any liquid coming into contact with it. That is for sure. So we'll wait and see what Kanga come back with. So there you go. So back to the studio. Yes, back to me, and I was just talking to Garry during that VT and looking through chat as well. Yes, it was a DIY juice. It wasn't a bought juice, and it was about 80 VG, 20 PG, and it was at 20% flavouring, spearmint flavouring. Yeah, and that would normally cause an issue with a polycarbonate tank, I have to say. I'm no longer going to make that particular juice. Anyway, I knew that Kanga knew there was an issue when we had Demetrius on a few weeks ago, because I did that VT a few weeks ago, but we've had other guests on, so that's taken the time. And I knew that they were starting to send out the replacement insulators. So I emailed Kanga, had a few replies, and the reply I had yesterday was I needed to contact the vendor that I purchased it from. So I've contacted that vendor, and thus far I have had no response. So I shall keep you posted on that one. If you can hear my computer fans, it's because I've just turned them up, because my my numbers were looking a bit high on my CPU, because it's quite warm in here. So yes, let's see what chat I've got to say. Cinnamon, lemon, menthol isn't going to do it well. Well, yes, like fire and ice, cinnamon, menthol. If the cinnamon is quite a high concentrate, it tends to crack tanks. So it could well possibly damage that particular insulator. If it's the upgraded insulator, then it probably won't. And I do like a fire and ice, I must say. And Sav makes a very good fire and ice, I do have to say, because I've tried it and it's very nice. And next time I see you, Sav, I think I might have to get some off you. And I know Sav uses menthol crystals, and I think she uses cinnamon hot shots from Cloud9 Vaping for hers. So yes, pineapple is in there. Trevor's going to stick to his custards. Let's see what else. Snake oil. I've not had an issue with snake oil, I have to say. I haven't got any left. I bought some at Vape Fest last year, and it was rather nice. I need to buy some more. At this year's Vape Fest, whenever it's going to be, keep an eye out for that, because I've noticed things have been stirring on the UK Vape Fest page. Yes. Cinnamon will definitely do it. Anything citric will tend to crack tanks. Banana is another one. I remember I was on the list for an RBA on UK Vapors, and I was on the list for about 7 weeks, and I got my RBA and I coiled it all up and I put it on my device and I filled it with banana, and it cracked the tank in 20 minutes. I don't vape with banana anymore. Well, not that particular banana flavouring. I know DV's ripe banana is fine, but other bananas you need to be careful with. It's one of those things, you know, some juices will crack tanks. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, the tank cracking thing is an interesting one, isn't it? And I've had different problems with mine because my RBA base when I first got it for the Subtank didn't actually. I spent ages on mine building. I built up the RBA, put it in, put it on, didn't get it. I was getting nothing at all. And it was during, I think, one of the shows on here that I was actually asking questions while I was going. But on my RBA, the POS pin actually wasn't meeting the inner POS pin. You know, when it screws down inside, and the POS pin needs to meet up the bottom. I wasn't getting that, and I had to strip mine back and put a blob of solder in to make it meet. So I had different problems with my first RBA. I've still got, like you, a virgin RBA that I haven't used as yet, and I'd be quite intrigued to see what my RBA base is like in there, because I haven't looked at it. I've just been happily filling it up and not even inspected it. So be interesting to have a look, because that is not a tank cracking juice. So I'll be interested to see if there is any damage to the insulator in that one as well. But yeah, it's bonkers that when they first put the tank out, and it's a damn good tank, and in RBA mode it does compete with you know, some of the better RBA stuff I've had in terms of performance, and for 30 quid, stunning. But if you're going to do it, get it right first time. Don't bugger about with people's health potentially. Nail it first time, do it right first time is what I would like to see.
Yes, I agree with you there. Mr. D. It would have been better to get it out and do some testing, more testing, and I think that the testing that the manufacturers do needs to include testing it to failure more than anything else. Testing it to failure. Let us go to the first set of ads, and we shall continue after that. What do you think? Yes. We'll see you in 2. Vaper Scene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
And now it's back to Vaper Scene on Vapor Trails TV. Vaper Scene is sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids. And welcome back to part 2. Now, hopefully, you're not getting a Chinese out of sync issue. Let me know if you are. It appears during the ads, I was just checking my CPU usage, and my lovely McAfee decided it was going to start a virus scan. Why did it do it the minute you go live? It doesn't do it all the time, and then it kicks into a scan. Never mind. So hopefully, it may have picked up. It may not have done, but it tends to be at the other end, YouTube wise, that we get the syncing issues, and not kind of at the end that we're sending from. So apologies if you are having any issues. Sorry, Marco, we are, says Yoda. Oh dear. Yes, I think we need to get a mobile satellite van that comes round to our houses and we beam out instead and you pick it up on Sky. That would be so much better, wouldn't it? But there you are. Never mind. We will have to soldier on. So, you've had no issues with anything apart from the connection, Gary, on your Subtank. And by the way, just before I go to Gary, I think the Subtank is a cracking device. I've got two. I'm quite happy to buy another one, but I'll probably get a mini, just so I've got some differences. The only issue that I have at the minute is the insulator. That's it. Apart from that, I love the device, and I'll be recoiling the stock 0.5 ohm atomizer probably next week to make it temperature controlled. And the other thing for the RDNA is I need to get a silicon sleeve because I'm wearing the paint off. It's always in my hand, apart from when I'm using the eye leaf. Anyway, yes, Gary.
They're called mod Johnnies. That's what I call them.
Mod Johnnies, yeah.
It's a mod Johnny. You know, yeah. Anyway, yes, I like I do like them. They're very good, very, very, very good tanks. But like I say, should have, the little, it's the niggly things, isn't it? But you know, product testing before you place it would be lovely from some of you people if you're watching this. Yeah, it's bonkers. I've no other problems with that apart from those 0.5 coils and I've burnt out quickly. It's the quickest coil replacement I've had to do in my life. One of those. I think I'm getting about a week out of one. But I am caning them quite hard at the moment. But no, solid bit of kit, well made, apart from the little niggly issue that should have been sorted. And I do apologise for freezing and looking gormless and screwing up the entire stream, as I promised I wouldn't do.
Yes, I've noticed you've kind of you've frozen a little bit. Yes, you're singing "Let It Go" next and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, let us move on. And I tell you what we'll do. We'll go into the first part of this week's MFT, and hopefully, as that finishes, because there's no moving lips in it, maybe that will solve any syncing issues. Yes. So here is part one of Gary's MFT this week.
Right, so we're back down on the bench for another week, and today is the finale of the box. Finally, I hope, unless I smash the buggery out of this bugger when trying to do what I've been doing for so long. It's taken me a long time to get to this point, but basically this is the original metal bit that was in there. We've made this on the hand lathe. Now I've got to do a bit of finishing, etc. to the bottom and to the edge, because there is a white edge, so I'm going to have to hand finish that so it's nice and shiny and black. But essentially what we need to do is get our atomizer connection as it went through here, and this was tight. This has got glue and all sorts in it, but we've got to get that one through here. Now if you watched last week, I've measured, I was literally 0.5 of a mil out on the atomizer depth through, and that was totally guesswork. The reason we got this one here is because it's a drip well for a 16mm ATI. This one would not take a 16mm ATI. Yes, I could have put that in the metal lathe and reamed it out, but I want to keep the option for Bob open, that he's got that if he ever wants to put it back on it. One of the other things I've noticed is the ATI connection when it goes into the box now, because of all the glue and stuff that was in there, is as tight as buggery. So what I'm going to be doing in two ways. Firstly, the atomizer connection that needs to go through here, it won't fit at this moment in time, and the reason for that, I've left it slightly undersized. Yes, definitely undersized. So I've got to ream the hole out, but I've also got to ream this out. Now, I used to have a hand reaming tool, but what I'm using now is a little step bit, and I'm just going to ease it in. I am so sorry, Bob, but I do have to ream the hole in your box, just so I'm going to take some of this glue off. And I'm just taking the edges off just so, an ecig connector. And you can see that's still tight going down in there, and I don't want to stress this until it's fixed. So while I'm reaming Bob's hole, let's just glue, absolute glue. And I might look away Bob, look away, back in two. Right, while I've been away, I've been working hard behind the scenes, and I can now get this 510 to slot in there rather nicely. Now, I needed to get the glue off in there for starters. I wanted a nice slidey fit, because when this is in place, there was solder on the back of this, which was, once that's glued in, there was solder on the back that was helping to hold that in situ. The other thing I've done is get spammed a lot on Facebook, hence the dings. What I've done in this well is taken it out with the reaming tool. Well, it's not a reaming tool, it's a step bit, and some coiled sandpaper that I've lost now. This. And I've worked this in a way that, and I wish I could get closer on this to try and explain exactly what we're talking about, but that is now absolutely flush in the bottom of that, if you can see the runoff. So the juice will not go down inside or down the side of the ecig. Each one of those little grooves sits bang flush in the bottom of that well. It gives enough room to make contact with an atomizer. But basically what it will also do is make sure that the juice is sucked up through those holes. And I've got to be careful when I fix this and when I glue this in place. What I have noticed is when I push this in at the moment, I'm to the limit of that inside. So I've got to now spend lots of time with some sandpaper and the bottom of this, taking enough off so I can get enough of a grip through to solder onto. Lots of rubbing. While I go and rub, enjoy yourselves. I'll be back in two. Right, I've been sanding do buggery. There was a lot more to come off than what I thought, and I discovered major flaws in my plan. So I can not mimic on the wood lathe, and I'll show you what they are if I can get the damn thing in zoom. You can see on this one here it has a flat bottom. Dibley in his haste completely ignored flat bottom. It's difficult because the drill bit was it's obviously got a bell end on it. Dibley, 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 dibley. Okay, I'm not to get well, but bell end isn't innuendo. It has got a bell end. It's got one on the end of the drill bit. It made a dent in the thingy. But basically what that means is obviously stupidity. When you put the atomizer connection in, for the ecig to screw down and sit flush, it's not going to do it in a hole. Should have known that, but rushing away, I got carried away. Best success I've had with one of these yet, and bearing in mind it's a hand job, so it would be far easier. I could have bought a new metal lathe and done it 10 times over. But what about to do? And the only reason that it was a bit of a problem was the way that these work is juice runs in, it goes in here, and it basically goes in a slot. So I played with, and I don't know how close, what I've done with this ATI connector to try it was just extending the slots ever so slightly and checking that things screwed into it perfectly without messing around, which they did. Now, what that will mean is it can sit ever so slightly proud of the flow. The flow of juice, if it spills over, will still go the same way, but by extending the slots, it's the slots that suck up the juice back up into the attic. So I've had a very careful measure and done exactly the same on the original atomizer connection with the tube that's going in there. I've got it to a point now where it needs to be. So if I screw in our vicious ant, there was me thinking this was going to be a quick 5-minute job. How wrong was I? I've got to clean all this up. Put that in there, and you can sort of see how this now, when I hold it tight, is going to sit in there. The drip well with the vicious ant, it's got room to breathe and all that sort of stuff. Now that then, in turn, everything's covered in dust. I hate sanding this stuff. When that is slotted down in there, I've got exactly, and if I try and rotate that round, now I don't know how close I can get down to this. I'll try my hardest. I think that's about it. But if you can see the solder mark inside there, that's the exact depth of what it was before, which I'm more than happy with. Overall, it's the way it's going to look with this screwed on top. Now I know it seems a lot of work for a drip well on a box mod, but it's a challenge. It's an absolute flipping challenge, I can tell you. And I'm so happy to see this starting to come together. Now, I don't think that is going to look too bad at all when it's done. The one thing I'm going to do for Bob is I'm going to make him a big wide pipe to go on the top of this to match the material out of exactly the same material. So it will be a nice matchup.
And there you go. That was this week's episode of Double Entendre with Garry Dibley. What have you got to say for yourself, Mr. Dibley?
I never meant to say bell end. It just, I'm sorry. I try. I'm trying to be good every week. I honestly am. But for some reason, it just comes out of my mouth. I have no control over what comes out. The brain doesn't seem to engage a mouth when recording. And I try to do, I don't edit that much with my stuff. I just do it and record it, and what comes out stays there. So I do apologise. But yes, interesting. I was told to stop sniggering. If I went into a hardware shop and asked for a bell end drill bit, I'd probably get a punch in the mouth.
Now, Neil Robinson has said, "Okay, we accept a bell end. Now explain hand job." Because there's been hand jobs in there, bell ends. There's also been reaming, R-E-A-M-I-N-G, which is a proper term for reaming. So it does tend to be. I think what we need a list. We need a filter, and you need to write down, type it all up, and have it on a big sheet in front of you. And if you say any of those words, you got to give me £1. How's that?
I'd owe you 50 quid by the end of the shot, I think.
But I'm counting on that.
I can explain they're all totally innocent. I mean, a hand job to me is quite a technical thing. And
Mr. Me as well, mate.
And it takes time. It takes a lot of planning. To me, when I go, it's a hand job. I mean, it's handmade. It's totally innocent in my head. Reaming is you do ream a hole. You've got a hole you need to get a little bit out of. You ream it. It loosens it up a damn sight quicker than filing it. To be honest with you, so they're all honestly, completely and utterly, totally innocent terms. The chat just take out of context so badly. Nothing to do with me at all. Innocent face.
Oh dear. Right. At this point, we are going to have our second set of ads, and when we come back, you can watch part 2 of MFT with Vaper Trail TV's own Mr. Remus. Vaper Scene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.
Vapers, do you love discovering new e-liquids? Tell Dripper the types of flavours you like and they'll send you 5 gourmet juices each month. Experience new and exclusive flavours, all with a money-back guarantee and free delivery anywhere in Europe. Dripper.co.uk.
RY4 Radio.
What's in this e-cig cloud? Harmless water vapour, right? Pretty much, yes. Compared to a lit cigarette, it's much safer than smoke. But it contains nicotine, and nicotine on its own isn't toxic and doesn't cause cancer. If you're worried about switching to vapour, here are some facts. No tar, no smoke, no burnt tobacco. Cooking your evening meal produces more toxins than are found in exhaled vapour. Tobacco smoke contains toxins at very high levels, and vapour does not. And that vapour contains 6,000 times less carcinogens than cigarette smoke. Electronic cigarette vapour. There's nothing to be frightened of. The only dangerous cigarette is a banned one.
And now it's back to Vaper Scene on Vaper Trails TV. Vaper Scene is sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids. And welcome indeed back to part 3 of this week's edition of Vaper Scene here on Vaper Trails TV. Watching chat during the ads, and you lot are just, you're mental. You're all mental. And if you don't come and watch the show live and participate in the chat, then you really need to come down and watch us live and participate in the chat. Because we've got the best chat in the world. Teary-eyed I am. But there you go. Can I read any of it? That's the question.
Probably not.
I really don't think I can. There's lots of talk of ad block and all sorts of stuff in there, and I really can't say anything that was happening in chat. You just need to come down and watch us live. Anyway, let's have the final part of Uncle Remus's MFT.
What do I have to do now? Well, now I've got to start gluing or fixing things together. And my concern when I fix is that they're straight. It's so difficult when you're doing stuff by hand and by eye to get them to meet up. And they're never going to be perfect, but the best we can do is judge it. Now I think I've got it to a point that is sitting naturally, and sitting naturally it's square, I think, unless you're going to tell me otherwise, but I think that's good-ish. So I now need to glue in the I'm going to use this to fix it. So basically it's stuck now, the bugger. It's done, it's finished, Bob, it's yours. I'll get this out. This is the atomizer connection, it's got some shit on it, some stuff on it. So I need to file down that bit of solder, to stop that, and I'm going to keep this attached. I've just pulled the cover off the cyclone. Keep that attached, and while that's attached I need to work out where I need to apply the glue and glue that in. Now I know you would love to see that, but I would probably F and blind all over the place, so I'm going to do this off camera, purely because I need to clean up all this dust and clean this out before I glue it. It needs a lot of concentration. I want to get this bang on, so I'm going to do that off screen and come back in two. Well, I've been away and glued my anti-connection in, making sure that I don't pump glue up into the slots. Now, I don't know how close I can get down on this. It's incredibly difficult to see, but you can see that the slots I've cut in there now extended the slots, so the runoff of the juice, if it does spill up, will run straight down back that well and should feed down through these extended slots in there. What I've got to do now is pop away and again excuse me, just to show you, atomizer will now screw in and make contact, and if I feed that in this flex, it all fits nice and snug. I just want to check before I start piecing this together that I've got continuity going through to the centre pin. That's a big thing. For me, when you're making something, you check the continuity, you keep checking it, you don't want to have spent all the time on the lathe making that and then go to glue it in and everything's shorted, if you get me. So what I'm going to do is stick one down on the centre pin inside the atomizer, making sure it's not touching the outside, and I'm just going to hit the centre pin. I've got perfect continuity through there, and again I'm just going to touch the outside, the neg, and touch this, and I've got continuity there. So I know that that atomizer connection should be functioning. I've tested for shorts previously, so I don't need to show you that, but effectively when you're testing for a short, you short across the pos and the neg. If it beeps, you don't do anything whatsoever, my dear. I'm gonna now glue this in, and I'm gonna, again, I apologise for not showing you how to glue it in, but it's basically blobbing some glue on and gluing it in. But what I'm going to do is I need to make sure I don't want the glue to run around the outside of this wood, because we are using the Vapor Gap stuff, and if it spills out, you will end up with white staining on the wood, which I don't want. So what I'm going to do effectively is run some beads literally around the centre of this. Try and seal it up better than it was before. The Vapor Gap stuff, it doesn't leak liquid, it doesn't do this, it will resist most things, and it's quite resistant to e-liquid. I've tried it extensively soaking, and it holds up better than your standard sort of glues. and this one was sort of leaking a bit, and you can see where the glue had splurged out around there. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops around the inside here, pop it in, position it up, get that glued in, and then when it sets off I'll come back in. I thought we were going to nail this week, but it's looking like it's going to run another week. Sorry about this. I mean, if we're showing stuff in process and in detail and all that sort of stuff, it takes the time. So love it, hate it, it's here. Give me some suggestions. Anything you want to see, I'll willingly do, unless it's running naked around the garden with a sandwich board strapped to my back. Back into it. Mind you, I might do that. Well, I'm happy with the way that turned out. It is now glued and fixed and getting there. Now, there is a silvery tinge in this, and I didn't realise until I started polishing it, but the black wasn't a true black. It had a silver tinge in it. But I think that adds to it. And I would say that though, wouldn't I? But I will make a tip to match this on the top. Now, the only thing left to do is to connect up the gubbins. That is now solid in there. I'm liking. I'm liking this now. It's working. When it wasn't working, it was a complete and utter bastard. Now it seems to be working. I'm loving that. Liking that a lot. 16mm vicious end, squonky doofy what's it thing. I'm going to be wiring this back up next week. I'm sorry it's taken a long time, but finally I've worked out how to do it, and it is a case of working out how to do it. Not the lack of wanting to do it, but the lack of knowing how to do it, I think was the case. And I'm quite pleased with myself that finally I've made by hand with a little tool the thing to go on the top, which doesn't look like a lot, but in terms of the thought process behind it to get it to work is, and to get it to fit, and to get it to sit with the rest of the mod and retrofitting it and all that sort of stuff. Happy. I'm going to pass you back to Marco in the studio next week. We will be wiring this up, getting it working, and then showing you. I feel guilty, but sorry Bob, I'm going to squonk it. I think I'm going to squonk it. Bob will be sat there like a dog with two ding-dongs, because finally it's getting done. And I do apologise again for the time, but it's in, it's fixed, it's there, it's looking bloody good if I dare say so myself, and with that vicious ant in the top, I like that. That is looking quite nice actually. 16mm squonky box thing. Finished soon, I promise. Back to you, Marco.
Yes, indeed. Let me turn my sound off. I was listening to that as it was going out. So, one more week left on the squonker, and then it's going to be going back to Bob. Oh, Mr. Dibley. And I must say, Mr. Dibley, congratulations on winning the UK Vapers Award for Vaping Accessory of the Year. Yes.
Yeah, chuffed. Very chuffed. And thank you very much to everybody who voted for me. And Graham, it's a joint award, because I know they were for Garry Dibley Drip Tips, but it's a team effort on the site that we have, and yeah, it was much greatly appreciated, and we beat Cotton, I believe. But yeah, no, it was very, very good. I won one a while ago, I believe. I can't remember the exact time, but it was for the pass through, which is going back donkey's ages, and we beat the Ego back then to win the newest product of the year or something, which shows how times change. But yeah, no, thank you very much, and thank you UK Vapors for putting it together, and everybody who voted. I'm doing my speech now. Should I cry? Should I shed a tear? I'm not quite sure. I don't handle these things very well, but yes, thank you.
Well, it's always nice to be appreciated for your artisan work, isn't it? Because those tips are made by hand. Everyone is unique, so well deserved, in my humble opinion. Knowing that I've got a few myself, but yes. I can never buy one on the website because about 20 seconds after you post it, they've all gone. So I shall do my best to pick some up from you at VapeFest, because I'll get a sneak peek, won't I?
You certainly will, yeah. I mean, I could say that a little bit of love goes into every tip, but I'm not going to.
Don't start them off again, for goodness sake. Don't start them off again. Anyway, we've got a little bit of time left, and I've got some kind of newsy items. I do have a bit of VT, but we won't do the VT. There was a story going back to the 13th. It was going to be on last week's show. It was going to be on the show before. But there was a fire in Sheerness with an e-cig. The London Fire Brigade warned of dodgy fake chargers, and the battery itself was an Ego T. Whether or not it was actually from a proper company or not, I do not know. But yes, it created a bit of a projectile, as they do. So on that, because it's the guy talking about what happened, and basically he plugged it in and it exploded because he was using a dodgy charger. Same old story. However, also a few weeks ago on the ITV site, there was a little warning about counterfeit chargers after a toy car burst into flames. Now, we're still talking about chargers here. It's the batteries that will fail, but it's the chargers that are causing this. And rather nice little child's car there that decided it was going to set fire. A lot of cables there, lots of extension leads. Don't know how much difference that would make if you're overloading a socket with too many things.
Lots.
Yes. What do you reckon, Mr. Dibley?
Lots. I mean, as you know, my day job is with a data and electrical contractors, and we constantly see. I mean, in an office environment, we very carefully balance the loads for desks, as I'm sure you're aware of as well. Yeah, you're in the same sort of environment. But yeah, we make sure that the circuit that all the desks are going on are carefully balanced. We make sure that each socket is individually fused. I can't speak today. Fused. So, and we constantly get reports from a lot of offices that we support that during the winter months, fuses are popping and they're losing their PC, this, that, and the other. When you go around and investigate, it's because they're plugging heaters in under the desk. I mean, I make that point because it's so easy to overload a socket, and big safety point in general life, about charging, not necessarily about vaping. Overloading an electrical socket is potentially fatal, can cause fires, can cause all sorts. You have a rating of a circuit for your house. People think they can just plug endless devices into a socket just because they fit, and because you can get an extension lead, you can plug more in. It's not the case. You've got to ream it back a little bit and take a look behind that TV, behind. But there you go. I waffled too much.
I was just doing that to Garry, just kind of winding him on because we're going to run out of time. Before we ended, what I wanted to do is just get a couple of things out. One of them was the issue that was talked about yesterday with the Totally Wicked legal challenge. If Matt could very kindly put the link into chat, that's the place to go, so you can get more information all about that. And also, Matt's got another link, which is to this counterfactual, Clive Bates's page. There's some rather interesting slides on there, and I'll just go through them very quickly. Reports of nicotine exposure rising rapidly, and you can see there's 3,957 reports of exposure in 2014. But when you drill down to that, you can actually see that the rise in analgesics, cosmetics, cleaning substances, everything else was far in excess of that. So it's talking about proportional reporting, and also the calls to US poison centres. E-liquids 1,500, alcohol 70,000, antidepressants 109,000, sedatives 153,000, cleaning substances 196,000. It goes on. So those links will be going into chat. They're in chat already, so you can have a look at those at your leisure, because we have just about run out of time. Don't forget, every night of the week there is RY4 Radio. Tomorrow night, it being Wednesday, it's The Cave with our very own Cybernaut, aka Matt Gerrish. Thursday, it's The Haze Hour with Dave and Keith. And Sunday, it's The Tackle Box with Mr. DK himself. Monday, Drips and Tips. And Tuesday, it's me and him again. Yes, me and the Dibbers. We will see you on the flip side. So have a good week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Tatty bye. Say goodbye.
Vaper Scene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.